on, guys? Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie. Let me fix the camera really quick for everybody tuning in on the YouTube channel. But alright, guys, so it is Tuesday, and it's been a really crazy week as far as MMA headlines go. This is going to drive me nuts again with that background. Let me fix it really quick. This is the kind of shit that just drives me out. Oh, especially in post-edit. Oh, man. I can't handle it. I cannot fucking handle it. And let me tell you why I was a little unprepared as I walked in the door just now. Well, obviously tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so I guess this is our, obviously our weekly news update for everybody. But also, since tomorrow is Thanksgiving, I guess this is our Thanksgiving podcast, which is kind of crazy because usually we do like a big presentation. Actually, we usually wait till the day after or the weekend for to see what the fighters were doing. We usually share some of their photos and stuff and review, some of the best moments that people had. But I guess this is the pre-Thanksgiving show. So this morning I was running around trying to get everything ready for tomorrow with the family. Ordered, the turkey, the gravy, the stuffing, which honestly, by the time you get to the turkey on Thanksgiving, you're already so full, especially if you're from an Italian family. It's just like, you just eat and eat and eat all day. By the time that turkey comes out, you're so mouchad, it's crazy. But, yeah, so on my way home, I knew I had this scheduled 12 o'clock live stream. And when you're at a light and you're trying to get home as fast as you can, and people are moving really slow and you honk your horn at them, well, here in the city, they don't like you doing that. And this is why I'm coming up my hill just now. I'm coming up my hill. It just turns 12 o'clock. And I fucking lay on my horn for the fourth time on the way home. And this motherfucker slows down even slower. And that makes me so fucking angry. Let me make sure our audio is up and going. But it's just crazy living in the city because I left at 8 or 9 o'clock this morning. And I didn't get back till 12. It just blows my mind. I didn't even have time to go to the pastry store. I still have to go to the pastry store, which, if you're Italian, you can't have a holiday. If you're Italian, you probably do this too. You can't have a holiday without your Italian pastries, and usually the line's an hour long. So there was no way I was going to miss my live stream. We're going to be doing that after, but that's enough of that. Let's jump into what you guys can expect on today's show. And before we jump into that, make sure to subscribe down below here on YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Podomatic, Player FM, wherever you're tuning in right now. Thank you so much. We broke 2,000 downloads in the past 7 days here. Since the last time we went on, I think it was at 1,800 for that span of 7 days. This span of 7 days, 3 days later, we're up to 2,000. Thank you guys so much. You have no idea how much that means. Any of our new listeners, if you want to go rate us on iTunes, that will help us hit the top charts. And for other people listening to the podcast that you're listening to, if you're listening to Submission Radio, you're listening to MMA Roasted, one of my favorite podcasts right there. So it's Uncle Hanash and Adam Hunter and CB and all those boys. Ween Dog, which we haven't heard from in a little bit. I actually just sent Adam books for his newborn baby, and he sent me a little thing saying thank you and whatnot, because he was saying that he's got no good child books. He's got famous female stories, and it's Anne Frank or all these sad, depressing stories, which for a little baby, it's a little too much. So I sent him Peppa Pig, since it was an inside joke with what recently happened at Bellator, and then I sent him Cat in the Hat, classic Dr. Seuss. Every child needs a Cat in the Hat book. I was more than happy to get that for Adam and his little one over there. But yeah, if you guys leave a review, it will help people who are listening to those podcasts also have our podcast, Pure Evil MMA, pop up in their stream as a recommended show to watch. So if you guys want to give a review, take a screenshot of it, send it to me, and I will send you a Pure Evil MMA postcard. And you can hang that on your refrigerator or whatnot. We've already mailed out a bunch of them. Also, this week we mailed out to Iceman his official Pure Evil MMA t-shirt for winning this year's Pure Evil MMA Pick'em Awards and the Crystal Skull, which I recently put right here behind us. I mean, I think this looks pretty bad, especially if I adjust the lighting. It looks, yeah, there we go. It looks super fucking Indiana Jones type shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I don't know. It just looks badass. So every time we do the stream, that will be right there. That is the Crystal Skull. And this year, the Iceman OFFIC, Iceman Official, won it, and we mailed him out a shirt. But guys, let's jump into today's show. There's a lot of MMA news that's been going out around recently that's been really upsetting. First being Rachael Ostovich, if you guys haven't heard, her husband. Well, first it came out that she got attacked, beaten in Hawaii. We had no idea what was going to go on. Then it comes out that it was actually her husband. This is the second domestic case for a female fighter in the UFC this year. You have her, and then you also have, why can't I remember her name? Her husband who had the Nazi tattoo. Why am I drawing a blank here? If you guys are in the chat room, help me out. This is crazy. I've interviewed her before years ago. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm getting crazy. But that's 2 domestic cases. Now, of course, the trolls are coming out and saying all this nasty shit. Guys, cut that out. This is so serious. Girls, okay, so let's just hop right into it. Well, you're already hearing the Rachael Ostovich news. Nick Diaz coming back as an underdog, and we're going to get into all that. And also, I want to preview this weekend's card. Nothing crazy. Just a quick preview because I haven't really looked into it at all. So I'm really interested to see who's on that card. If there's any fighters that have been on the Pure Evil MMA podcast before that are on there. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But Rachael Ostovich, it came out that she was attacked. Now, immediately it's like, oh my God, what is going on? I didn't even think it was domestic because from what I know, it seems like she has a really tight family. Like her and her husband, her baby daddy, seem like they have a great family. They have, the little ones. And I always see Rachael posting videos. Look, you know what? Let's go to Rachael's Instagram just to show you guys here on YouTube. It's crazy because there's so many people on social media that portray their lives as something completely different. Now, without getting too deep into that, let me just give you a rundown of what exactly happened here. Allegations came out that she was cheating on her husband, which if you're a guy or a girl, you know how that feels. But there is no excuse. There's nothing anyone can do. There's nothing a female can do for a man to lay their hands on, especially somebody that you love and have children with. Like, that really does blow my mind. We aren't 15 years old. This isn't our first relationship. Heartbreak sucked. If you're in a marriage, I understand it. It must be so painful, man. I feel like most of us, probably all of us, have been there at one point in our lives where someone that we love has betrayed us, stabbed us in the back. Now, let me try to get this up really quick for everybody. But there is no excuse ever to put your fingers or lay your hand on a female fighter or female, period. This is pissing me off. This is why you can't get an HP computer. This is going to fuck up my whole live stream. Let me just pull this up really quick for you guys because shit's annoying. But let's be real, guys. 2 incidents this year. And you would think, like, these people that are training in mixed martial arts, they should have even more of a hold on when they get angry, how not to act, right? Like, you would think. I'm going to abandon that for right now because I don't want this to get fucked up. And it's so upsetting. I was reading the most disgusting comments from trolls on social media that were responding to the situation. People saying, oh, well, she's a female fighter. It shows how good her stand-up is, blah, blah, blah. Guys, we've seen this happen before in boxing. We've seen this in every sport where domestic violence come into play. We've even seen people die. It's gotten to that point where people have died. There's a couple of famous cases, especially boxing. I forgot the guy's name. He was a little scrappy dude, long hair. He was the champion for a while as well. Ended up, people were saying that his wife murdered him. There's a bunch of cases out there. But look, I'm just happy that she is okay. Apparently there's a restraining order going out on him, or that has already been put in place. But I've done some research before in the past about Hawaii. I watched ID channel and all that, forensic files and whatnot. And apparently in Hawaii, they have a very lenient court system out there. And honestly, it's a little different from what we deal with here in America. Instead of having them have a jury come in, they don't even do that. It's just the judge who sentences or whatever. But this guy is now facing life in prison for, what are the exact, he has like a murder charge on him right now, which is disgusting, man. It's absolutely disgusting. The poor little girls, they have a family together. It blows my mind. Attempted murder. Her husband's name's Arnold Burden. Arrested for attempted murder. So this came out on Tuesday. It's Wednesday right now. Rachel's only 27 years old, so she's still very young. She's supposed to be fighting Paige Van Zandt. And there are people out there that for some reason thought this was going to still go on. Even if Rachel wasn't beaten that bad. The fact that she was beaten, period. That she has issues going on at home, period. You're not going to see Rachel at her 100%. So even if she did go through this and still wanted to fight, and it was like, this is an even better reason for me to fight, I wouldn't want to see that. There are people out there that'll be like, well, there's a story there and this and that. And there have been girls before in the past, maybe not that serious of an issue, but recently this girl here in Connecticut, I won't throw her name under the bus, but she's been on the podcast before. Her boyfriend passed away, and she did not want to call her fight off. She wanted to go in there and stay with what she practiced and what her boyfriend supported her through. And she went in there. She had a horrible weight cut. It was very scary. The fight happened at Mohegan Sun, so it was a little bit more lenient. She even ended up in the hospital the night before the fight because her weight cut was so brutal. She went, fought the next day, and won. That is an amazing, amazing story. But let's be real. At the highest level here in the UFC, something like this happened, it should be immediately out of the question. Dana and everyone should just be like, listen, we don't want you to take this fight. You need to get your head right. You need to recover the right way, physically and mentally. You need to get your family under control. This is a very serious issue. So for anyone out there that's trolling on this situation, and just, man, I really pray nothing like that ever happens to you, because then you'll get a real taste of it and you'll feel like a real dirtbag for saying what you said, which is, it's so crazy how far people go on social media. They have no filter. I know sometimes we celebrate it, or they come up with some good memes here and there, but at the end of the day, when it comes to something like this, come on, man. I have to block you. If there's people out there that really have that mentality, that are saying the shit that I've been seeing, you have to get blocked. There's no room for that. There's no space for that. I can't, our prayers, our wishes go to the Ostovich family, but as far as Rachel says, she says that he punched me repeatedly in the head, face, and ribs. So this isn't just one punch. This was literally, she was beaten. How sickening does that make every guy out there right now? Every guy in the world. So I can understand why he was so angry. I can see where the anger came from if you have a beautiful wife like Rachel, where every guy would just die to be with her. It's probably your worst fear going into a relationship when you're with somebody like that. Your biggest fear is for them to break your heart, especially going behind your back or something like that. And something really suspicious happened. I think it was either the day before the fight happened or the day it did happen. Somebody commented on Rachel's post. I don't know exactly what it was, but somebody commented something about her cheating on him, and he actually liked the comment. When this news broke, he had a warrant out for his arrest. He had to turn himself in. It's not like they showed up to the house and arrested him. He actually turned himself in. There are restraining orders going against him, and now he's facing life in prison. What do you guys think about that? Is that too hard of a punishment? Assaulted, attempted murder? As we look into this case and look deeper into it, I'm sure I will agree with life. No one should ever lay a finger on a person, but life is brutal. Man, if she was literally about to die, I can totally see them giving him life in prison though. So if that is true, I'm not gonna feel some type of way about it. But man, you would think that somebody in the mixed martial arts scene that's been training it for years and years and years would know how to control their anger a little bit. But like I said, I understand where the anger is coming from, but there's no reason ever to lay a finger on a woman. Let me know what you guys think down below here. this is just messed up. This is just absolutely messed up. And I just hope that everyone understands that. As excited as we were to see her and Paige Van Zandt go down, it's probably not the best idea on her behalf, even if she could, to go in there and fight. I want to see Rachael back on top 100%. And I want to see her and her family in a good place before she returns. So God bless Rachael and the Ostovich family. This is such unfortunate news. And we can only pray for the young ones to kind of understand, and let's hope that they can deal with it and not have any negative repercussions from it, because stuff like that can really mess children up bad. They don't really understand what's going on. And her daughter's so innocent. So to see something like this happen, it really hurts. It strikes really close to home. So let's move on with today's show. Another big headline that came out today, or this week, or recently, I should say. Nick Diaz making his return. Now, this is something that we have heard before in the past. For me, it's really hard to get excited about it because we've heard it so many times. Let's rewind. Let me give you guys a timeline in case we have any new listeners that are new to the sport of mixed martial arts. Nick Diaz has been in the game for so many years. I remember him as the Strikeforce champion, going over to the UFC, and he's always been that big star, but never really got the spotlight that I really thought that he deserved. Finally, a couple years ago, the most awful thing that could have happened to him, that we all knew he was doing, smoking weed. He gets like a 5-year suspension for having THC in his system. How absurd is that? How much does that just show you how uneducated the system really is? 5 years for marijuana, but yet these fighters can go out, drink, get trashed as much as they want. That does some real damage to your body. That will put you in a state of depression as well. Alcohol is a depressant, which is why I don't understand like these doctors and like nurses with alcoholism, stuff like that. They can't drink alcohol, and if they do, they become a completely different person. But yet, if they're in recovery and they want to smoke weed or do something else, it's frowned upon. Oh, no, you can't do that, but you could drink alcohol. Here you go. It's going to turn you into a completely different person. That day, okay. But you stay away from marijuana because you will be a bad person if you do that. What the fuck mentality is that? It's almost the year 2020. And when that news came out, it was just mind-blowing. Like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? We are seeing people pop for PEDs with less suspension time than that. This guy, what are you doing? What are you doing? So he finally makes his return. Anderson Silva fight, he gets popped. That was, 3 years ago? I think Nick's had one fight in 4 years. One fight in 4 years. And now he's going to come back and fight a top-ranked fighter? Jorge Masvidal? What are you talking about? How does that seem like a good idea? In boxing, you know what they do? They give you a warm-up fight. So, okay, let's give him Jorge Masvidal. He loses, and then what? Wouldn't you rather have him go in there, fight an unranked fighter, get the warm-up that he deserved? They did it for Khabib Nurmagomedov when he fought, what was that guy's name? Who got in the motorcycle accident? Why can't I remember his name? Not Darren Elkins. Something like that. Daryl Horcher. They did it for Tony Ferguson, Orlando Venata. What, Nick Diaz is a different story. You're going to give him a top-ranked fighter. They're that greedy that Nick's coming back. We need to get him in a big fight. No, that's not what you do here. That is the worst thing that you can do. And even his friends are being like, I don't like this. I'm not feeling it. AJ was just recently saying that apparently. And listen, awesome. If he comes back and wins this fight, awesome. But this is not the route to go. He's coming in as an underdog in this fight. And I totally understand that. What do you guys think about this? Like, what are they thinking here? What are they possibly thinking? How does this seem like a good idea at all? Scott Cannon says, no need to hit a woman, full stop. Hey, Eddie, everyone in chat. Here, let me pull in the chat room here for you guys. Pull it in screen. So for the people that are watching at home, shit. I gotta pull you guys back in screen. God dang it. God dang it. YouTube. Come on, bitch. You know, this is what happens when you scramble to get home real quick. Let me pull this live chat in, though. I think it's really important that I interact more with you guys here. Hey, everyone in chat, says Michael Enzo. Eddie, I always felt if somebody cheats, just walk away. Great point, man. Great point. But it hurts. Obviously, we've all been there. Scott Cannon says he deserves what's coming to him. 100% agree. If these murder charges makes an attempted murder, if she was really that close to death, if she had a broken orbital bone, I really hope that he gets the worst punishment possible. Eddie chat, the husband was arrested for attempted murder. Was that for Rachel or another incident? That's for this incident. Didn't the commission drop it down to 1 or 2 years? So, okay, now we're talking about, we're actually up to date in the chat room with what we're actually talking about here, which is Nick Diaz coming back. God damn it. I need a fucking iPad or iComputer, whatever the fuck they're called, MacBook. So yeah, they did drop it down to 1 to 2 years for Diaz. Now he's making his return against a top 10 fighter. Makes no sense. Past news for me is Nick Diaz. I 100% agree. There's been so many times in the past 4 years, oh, he's coming back, and it never happens. He got off of suspension last year, or was it this year in April? I think he got out like April 26th or something like that, of either this year or last year. It's been a minute, and I've been waiting for him to have a fight. But at this time, like, I don't care until we actually get to the fight. I will be excited when we get to the fight. Who do I pick in this fight? I don't pick Diaz here. I really don't. Even if he's been active doing the triathlons and stuff like that, which I know that they do, it's hard for me. And I don't believe in ring rust. You guys know that. Like, I've talked to a lot of fighters who have been away from the game for 6 years, 2 years. I asked them. Some say yes, some say no. And they would know better than anyone. I think it's case to case. Nick Diaz coming back, I think there will be a little ring rust there. Like, and I never say that, but it would make sense to me. It would make sense to me that it's going to take him a minute to get in the zone. But maybe he needs something like this. Maybe he needs a top 10 fighter to pump himself up, get motivated to get back in there. I know the fans are going to be excited once the wheels start turning. Once those gears start turning, then we can turn up. But for right now, when it comes out on one of these websites that he's making a return, it's going to be against this guy, the odds are coming out as a minute underdog. It's just a little hard to invest myself right now. And I think that's fair. Eddie, Dana hates the Diaz brothers. That is why the UFC did that. And, yeah, I mean, they never really had the best relationship, but to keep it 100, I really think the UFC needs somebody like the Diaz brothers. They don't have any big superstars right now. They need, and it's so crazy how his little brother Nate hasn't fought in so long since the McGregor fight. I was pumped for the Dustin the Diamond versus Nate Diaz fight. So pumped. That fight made so much sense. Finally was returning. Bruce Buffer was saying all this shit. Like, yeah, Buffer, stay in your lane, stick to your job. We just want to see this fight. Like, things were starting to start moving with it. And then, boom, it falls. UFC could really use the Diaz brothers right now. And if there is a time, listen, there are so many fighters in the UFC still currently that might not be here by the end of next year. Nick Diaz probably has very little time left, if any, when he returns. It doesn't even seem like he wanted to really return. There's people out there, Robbie Lawler. How much time does he have left? Cowboy Cerrone, Damian Maia. I mean, there's a lot of Shogun Rua still doing his thing. There's a lot of big names in there. And we've been seeing a lot of the heavyweights change up, too, as well. Go to Bellator. There's a lot of guys here that the UFC could really use right now to step up to the plate. And they could promote Diaz. I want to see the Diaz brothers on the same card in Stockton. They need to do that while they have them both there. This is something I spoke to, Diego Lima about. I was like, Diego and Douglas Lima. You got Douglas Lima, who recently lost the title over at Bellator against Rory McDonald. We've always wanted to see the brother-brother duo inside the UFC or even over at Bellator. I mean, they have the Pitbull brothers over at Bellator. But, man, there's something about that aspect. Put the Diaz brothers both on the same card in Stockton or somewhere in the area. That's what the fans want. We need right now. Because their biggest go-to guy, Conor McGregor, hasn't been pulling through for you, has he, lately? And understandable, he's been moving up, doing bigger things than what he's probably capable of doing, which is, you know, the magic of Conor McGregor. But it hasn't been working in his favor lately. If it was working in his favor, like it was, you know, in the Eddie Alvarez fight, and we thought, oh my God, Conor McGregor is going to be the next Muhammad Ali or some crazy shit like that. Then he goes and fights Mayweather. Then he goes and fights Habib. And now you're back on bottom, which is another discussion that we should slide into right now. Big talk, Cowboy Cerrone versus Conor McGregor. Fight that really doesn't make sense for me. Don't really want to see the fight. But with where Conor is right now, I could see that fight going down. They also have the promos from back in the day, like 2 years ago. What was it, the UFC 205 press conference, I think? Where Cowboy Cerrone's sitting there. I think it was even before that. And Conor goes, yeehaw! Because Cowboy's trying to open up his mouth. It might have been the same presser that we saw Jeremy Stevens open his mouth. Oh, I'll tell you who you want to fight. You're the hardest one-punch hitter in the featherweight division. Who the fuck is that guy? I wouldn't mind Conor moving down, back to featherweight. I don't know. I really did believe that Conor at lightweight was his spot. That is, he looked so amazing against Eddie Alvarez. He really did. If he fights Cowboy Cerrone, here's one thing that no one's talking about. Did y'all forget how mentally weak Cowboy can be? Every time he fights, what Cowboy is going to be showing up? Conor McGregor will have a heyday with Cowboy Cerrone's mind games. It will be bad. It will be bad. It would be pretty cool to see if Cowboy can overcome that and just kind of put up a, you know, cold shoulder to it all. But I'm sure Conor's going to dig something up that's going to get under Cowboy's skin. I would love to see a fired up Cowboy, but I don't know. I don't know. And if you start off slow against Conor, this could be an interesting fight. Like, if you look into it, it could be an interesting fight. But when they announced it, I was a little surprised. He has his win coming off Mike Perry. He's got that positive vibe. He lifting his little baby up at the end of the fight. It would be red panty night. It would be red chaps night for Cowboy Cerrone. What do they call them? The buttless chaps, right? The Cowboys wear something like that. I don't know if we can get into it, but that I would enjoy that. I think that might be one where Conor can really get into. It will be interesting to see how Cowboy reacts to it all. He's a true vet. How many times can you make the same mistakes or let people run over you the same way they did before in the past? I could get into it. What about you guys? Who would you like to see Conor McGregor fight next? Because me personally, there's a couple of guys out there. Even like I said, going back down to featherweight, Jeremy Stevens, why not have that fight if he wants to do it? Michael Angelone saying, I remember Nate Diaz versus Cowboy fight. Cowboy pulled back his punches. That's another fight where Cowboy was going to show up. Michael Angelone, I think maybe Nick needs the money. Interesting, because his brother's making a shit ton of money, especially off the last few fights. Now, the trilogy fight is definitely coming unless, you know, one of these two people, between Nate or Conor, something bad happens, which we pray not, because that trilogy fight needs to go down. A true rubber match. I made the mistake today by saying, I did my daily poll on Twitter, and if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure you are, at evil_echo, that's EVIL_ECCO. I made a post yesterday for the daily poll, and I said, how many of you guys out there are actually going to want to pay $39.99 for Tito versus Chuck's rubber match? No, to me, I was thinking in my head, it's their third fight, it's a trilogy fight, it's a rubber match. I totally forgot. It has to be tied 1-1 to be officially called a rubber match. Somebody called me out on it, and I totally fessed up to it. So shout out to you for fixing that little mistake there. I totally got thrown off there. But honestly, guys, even just a transition and that, like, what the hell, $39.99? Here's one thing where I will get behind and support the price, because apparently Tito and Chuck will be making between 20 and 30% of the total pay-per-view, which apparently in the UFC, from what Tito said in his last interview with Ariel, the UFC only pays about 2% of the pay-per-view earnings. However, Oscar De La Hoya saying like this pay-per-view is going to bring in these huge numbers. I think he said, you know, 1.5 million, 1 million or something like that. Something crazy. I do not see that happening, especially for $39.99. However, there is a sale that is going on for half price on Black Friday for a 3-hour window. So if you want to hop in on that, it's like $20 to buy the pay-per-view. Now, really interesting, in the Pure Evil MMA chat room, Scott Canyon shared the tweets from the press conference, and it was so fucking cringy. Like, it was a straight meme show. And I couldn't even tell, like, are they really trying to do this? Are they trying to make it awkward? Are they trying to make it like a meme? Or are they fucking serious? Because it looks so out of place. I'm going to play that for you guys really quick here. Let me just scroll up in the Pure Evil MMA chat room. Oh, and shout out to Devin Powell. Look at Devin Powell's foot in recovery. That's Devin Powell's foot. That looks like, you know what that looks like? You guys, you remember the Cabbage Patch Kid dolls? Those look like straight up dummies' feet right there, right? They look like stuffed toes. Little stuffed feet. That's some good shit. All right, let's see. It's coming up. It's coming up here. I know it is. I know it is. There are so many chats today. I love it. Shout out to Brian Brown, who's back in the Pure Evil MMA chat room. Shout out to Misty. Shout out to Leslie. Shout out to Scott, Pat, Jamal, Jordan. But where is it? Where the fuck is it? You know what? Let me go to Scott's page. Make sure to follow Scott at K34No16. All right, it's got to be up here somewhere. Somewhere. Here it is. All right, Liddell Ortiz 3. Hopefully I don't get flagged. What is this? This is just cringe. This is just cringe. And you think you're going to sell 1 million pay-per-views off this? Listen, don't go live until you're ready to go live. You can't have us watching this.
I mean, if you were to ask me, you know, who your favorite fighters are in the MMA world, all I think about is Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. You know,
Chuck Liddell.
They've been staples for the longest time. They've been fighters who we've gotten to grow up with, fighters who we've gotten to know.
This is so bad. I'm going to pause it right there and just say, somebody tweeted out today, I saw. It seems like Chuck Liddell and Tito are both really serious about this fight. It's great that they had this shot to do this and live this out, because let's be real, it's probably haunting Tito. 2 losses against him. Let's get the shot back. The dude just had neck surgery, back surgery. Chuck Liddell's been out of the game for like 7 years now. But if you think it's going to sell 1 million pay-per-views, and it could. Don't get me wrong. It could if it's promoted the right way. And that's the whole point of me saying this, is I don't think it was promoted the right way. Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz did the promotion themselves. Just listen to this. This is awful. Like this, for instance, look at when Dana was promoting Mayweather McGregor. How fired up he was. That's the energy people want to see and hear. They don't want to hear this. It's cold in here. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see somebody talking all calm, cool, and relaxed. They want to get pumped up. This isn't tap dancing. This is mixed martial arts. This is fighting. And like who am I saying this to, really? But it's like he should know better than anybody. Oscar De La Hoya should know better than anybody.
I mean, there's fans out there, casual fans out there who...
And he doesn't even really know who the other fighters are. He only talks about Chuck and Tito. You have all these other guys up on stage he doesn't talk about or even know their names.
Can't name anybody else but Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell.
Do you hear that?
I mean, there's fans out there, casual fans out there who can't name anybody else but Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. We have an excellent undercard, which consists of 18 total fights, and I don't have a good memory to remember every single name, but we have all the fighters here.
How bad is that, man? How disrespectful is that? For real, for real. How disrespectful is that? You don't know any of the other fighters on the card. You want us to pay $39, but yeah, you don't even know who's fighting. You want us to pay $40, and you don't even know who you hired to fight. More nervous hand rubbing. You had all this time to prepare. These two guys are relying on you. This is money in their pocket. What are you doing? What are you doing? And that's the end of the video. I'm going to retweet this right now. Scott, guys, give Scott a follow because he posts a lot of good stuff. If you're a diehard MMA fan or a casual, he gets the stuff that you want to know about. And that's the kind of stuff that we share in the Pure Evil MMA chat room. And honestly, we have a lot of great members in there. Ann Hill, Chillzone 95, Misty, Leslie, Scott. Let's see, Pat, Barry, Randy Marshall, who we haven't talked to in a minute, Iceman, Davey Canes, MMA Oracle, MMA Pick, Wicked World. There's some people in here that haven't checked in a minute, which kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, you're going to be in the chat room. We got, like, it just kind of makes me mad. But, all right, guys, let's move forward here. What do you think? Are you going to buy this pay-per-view for $39.99? Did that make you cringe or what? Let me know in the comments down below. Or shoot me a tweet on Twitter or Instagram at @PureEvilMMA_ or on Twitter at Evil_Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. I'm also on Facebook too, guys, which I don't really mess around on Facebook much, but a lot of the fighters, for some reason, they tend to their Facebook, like Charles Crazy Horse or Felony. He's always doing live streams and stuff on his Facebook. Some people enjoy Facebook, but to me, the MMA scene is Twitter. Bottom line. I go on Facebook to talk to high school friends and family. Or, you know, I obviously share my MMA news on there, but they don't want to see my MMA news. But you guys can follow the Pure Evil MMA page at Pure Evil MMAS on Facebook. All right, so I really want to preview this card coming up this weekend before we end today's show. We're already at the 40-minute mark. Wow. Because I feel like it's really going under the table right now. And Curtis Blaze versus Francis Ngannou, only on UFC Fight Pass. Another thing where it's like, you want our sport to grow, but you're hiding it. You're hiding it on FS1, Channel 271, which is not promoted. People don't even know there's fights coming up. Or you're putting it on UFC Fight Pass. Or if it is on Fox, it's either on FS1, FS2, Big Fox, or you're chasing it. I hate it. UFC Fight Pass is good for the library content of it, not these live events. Why would you ever want to put this fight of all the fights that you got on a Fight Pass card? What are you doing? I understand the time difference, which apparently starts at like 3 a.m., so I do understand that, but damn, man. It's hard for me. All right, so this is the rematch. I interviewed Curtis after he fought Francis in the first fight, and he was so fired up and wanted to get that rematch so bad. But at the time, it was quite clear that there was no way he was going to be able to get the rematch. I mean, Francis Ngannou, we're talking 2.5 years ago. At the time, he was skyrocketing right to the top. Him and Derek Lewis. We knew it was a matter of time before those two clashed as well, and it ended up being the worst fight in heavyweight history. At least top 3 worst fights in heavyweight history. For as big as it was supposed to be and how badly it just crashed and burned. This fight, believe it or not, Francis Ngannou was the underdog here. Coming in as the underdog. Now, I gotta take a step back here and wonder, because I do still believe Francis Ngannou has that knockout power. If you go back and watch the first fight, Curtis Blaydes versus Francis, Francis fucks up Curtis Blaydes' face so bad, and that's how the fight stopped. He didn't knock him out. He didn't finish him. He didn't submit him. They had to call the fight off because it got that bad, where Curtis's face was just so badly busted up. And Curtis was still trying to go. He was very upset. He was pleading to have the fight continue, and they were not having it. Okay, I think they shut down officially the UFC app officially, it looks like, because I can't get anything on here, which is definitely strange. Which I did hear from somebody that there's a new UFC app up. So let me see if okay, here it is. There is a new UFC app, so we're gonna have to download that. So let's take a look on UFC.com. I'm gonna bring you guys into the computer here. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm sorry, hang in there with me, because we are going to UFC.com. We're gonna be looking at this fight card, but right off the bat, I think Francis is gonna win this fight. I don't know what the odds are. Let's go to Tapology. We already have Tapology up here. We just had Chad Skelly on the other day. Interesting interview as well, where he goes back and relives the fight that just happened 2 weeks ago for the 25-year anniversary for UFC Denver, and how the referee stepped in and called the fight off. Very controversial loss. And he told us here on Pure Evil MMA that he's going to be appealing it, which is, a hassle to have to go through. All right, Tapology. Why is my computer so slow today? Somebody answer that for me. Shit pisses me off more than anything. But yeah, if you guys want to check that interview out, it's down below here on Pure Evil MMA's iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify. This shit's pissing me off. My computer's really pissing me off today. It really is. But he actually brings a really interesting point up. I asked him, what change do you think needs to be made after 25 years and seeing something like that happen once again? In this sport, you don't get a fresh record in January. It counts against you. He tells me, he said, there should be somebody on the higher up, somebody that can overturn a call, not just the ref. Because he also says, and this should have been the headline of the entire interview. He goes, I go, what qualifications do you think a referee should have to, be working at the highest level? And he goes, I think referees should check their pride at the door. Because it did seem like the ref was just trying to back himself up instead of looking at what he could have possibly gone wrong. He did not believe that he was wrong in any way, shape, or form. Which is just disturbing. It pisses me off because people are always like, oh, he wasn't going to escape it anyway. We don't know that. There's no way we'd be able to tell. The fact is, the ref immediately stepped in. He didn't ask him, oh, show me a sign that you're okay. And what you guys saw in the replay, go back and listen to this interview. What you saw in the replay when the ref pulls him off and touches his arm and his arm's kind of limp, he's trying to say that I'm relaxed in there. I've been in this position so many times. So we're watching slow motion, and it looks even worse because I'm in a relaxed state trying to escape it. Go check the interview out down below. Very interesting. All right, so I just pulled up the card on my computer. Curtis Blaydes versus Francis Ngannou. Let's take a look at what the odds are. Betting odds, Francis Ngannou is just a slight underdog at plus 170 and moderate favorite negative 215 for Curtis Blaydes. I don't think this fight's going to go the distance. I really think there's going to be a finish by the third round. If it goes past the second round, I'm going for Curtis because he has a shot, man. You're going up against somebody that you fought already, so you kind of already have somewhat of a feel. Same goes for Francis Ngannou. He has a win over this guy. His confidence is going to be up here. And we know he's dealing with his ego issues, but there's no way you can downplay, I beat this guy. You're going to feel comfortable in there. However, he's coming off two big losses. His last loss against Derek Lewis, And then the fight before that against Stipe Miocic. Before that, this guy was at the top of the world for the UFC. I really thought this guy was the next big name for the UFC if he was able to get past Stipe Miocic. And don't you guys out there lie. You good 80% of you guys out there picked Francis Ngannou. When he was coming off that knockout to Alistair Overeem, oh my God. He looked unstoppable at that point. And then Stipe goes in there and just shows him how it gets done. 76% of you guys on Tapology going with Curtis Blades. Then we got Alistair Overeem on versus Sergey Pavlovich. Overeem coming off 2 losses as well. But it's a near even on the odds. Plus 100 for Overeem. Negative 135 for slight favorite for Sergey Pavlovich, who's undefeated, number 6 ranked. I think worldwide, on heavyweight. 59% of you guys on Tapology are also going with him. Jesus. Let's see what other good fights are on this card. Not many. Rashad Couture, Lauren Mueller versus Yana Wu. That could be a good one. I like Lauren Mueller. She's undefeated as well. Heavy favorite going into this fight. 92% of you guys out there going for her. Louis Smolka, the first fight on the entire card. Man, what a drop for him. He's on a 3-fight winning streak right now, too. Why do they do that? That's another thing I don't understand about the UFC. Like in boxing, your best fights are at the top where it's heavy. In the UFC, they keep doing this. Like they spread all these fights out. It's like if you've never seen a UFC event and you have no idea who these fighters are, and you're the first fighter on the card, you're gonna think these two guys are absolute nobodies. You want the bigger names and the good potential matchups at the top, you would think. I've heard some reasoning of why they wouldn't want to do that, but right now is the time to do that. We don't want a main card of girls we never heard of or guys we never heard of when you got Louis Smolka on the first fight. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? The other fights on the main card, Yadong Song versus Vince Morales, Jingliang Li versus David Zawada, and Karen Song versus Alex Morano. Why is Louis Smolka not on the main card? That kind of shit just blows my mind with the UFC. It really does. Let me know what you guys think about this. Who are you going for in the main event? Is it Curtis Blades or Francis Ngannou? Also an Alistair Overeem fight. Who are you guys going for there? I'm going with my boy Alistair. There's no way I'm not going with Alistair Overeem. You guys are crazy to think Alistair's at the end of his ropes, man. Because 2 years ago, he looked like he was at the top of his game. He was trying to bring the belt back to Amsterdam and came this close. And then that fight with Stipe where he thought he got the tap and then his shit just got weird. I thought I saw the tap too. When it happened, you can go back and look at my tweets. I thought I saw a tap from Stipe, but it never happened apparently. And that was the last time up until 2 weeks ago we ever seen anybody get interviewed after a loss. Only person to do it ever since is Chaz Skelly. So make sure you guys check that Chaz Skelly interview down below. It's a very interesting interview. He goes in depth about exactly what was going on in the moment. Even the conversation he had with Felder. I thought he was trying to get, Felder side with him. Not the story. He was like kind of yelling at Felder, being like, no, that's not what happened, dude. He heard Felder say, oh, well, look at his arm. That's not what happened. Him and Felder were kind of arguing back and forth with one another. So you get the full story down here below at Pure Evil MMA. Guys, I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA. If there's anything I missed, let me know because we're going to be doing our Thanksgiving special, which is we do every year for the past couple of years here in Pure Evil MMA. It's always cool because we review some of the photos and all the good times that people had over the holidays, and we'll share what we're thankful for. And guys, don't forget, as we come up to December, we're going to be doing some giveaways, and then, like we do every year on Pure Evil MMA, there's going to be an all-new layout here come January 1st. So, a lot of stuff in the works here. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, MyMMAnews.com. White knuckles to the end. Behave yourselves. See ya.